Hey friends, how's it going? Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this video. My name is Steven, and today I'm actually going to be going over my 5 best hikes of 2023. Now the criteria that I'm using for this is as follows. Was it a memorable hike? Was there a great, amazing major payoff at the end of the hike? And did I have a lot of fun doing it? Obviously I have a lot of fun on all the hikes that I go on, and they're fantastic, but these were unique because they were just amazing in their own way. All right, let's go into it. One word can actually describe this adventure: frustration. Or actually determination can describe this trip. But this was actually my 4th attempt to climb this thing, and it proved to be just a fantastic, worthwhile trip. I was able to get some great drone shots. And the reason why it took me 4 times was because the first time I went up there, I had some drone failures, and I actually crashed my drone and I had to replace the props. Second attempt, it was very, very windy, and I didn't want to risk that flying my drone out there. And then the third time, it was raining. Visibility was poor, but the 4th time proved to be the one and the ideal type of weather because the skies were clear, great visibility, hardly any wind, and it just proved to be a really fantastic challenge hike. And it was great. It was fantastic. You know, I really did. It was a hot day, don't get me wrong. It was actually the beginning of summer, but it was very enjoyable, and yeah, great time up there. So it was really interesting because at the beginning of the year, we received a lot more snow than in previous years. It was just so much, you know, and I really wanted to start snowshoeing. So this was actually the 3rd time that I went out snowshoeing, and it was a beautiful, amazing area, you know, to be able to explore and challenge myself. Now, this was interesting just because, I mean, the way to Deception Peak is a little bit steeper than most hikes in that area. Once I got up there to Deception Peak, I looked across and I saw Lake Peak, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks awesome. And it looks sketchy too. And there were actually 4 cross-country skiers that were contemplating going. They were right there at Deception, and they were contemplating going to Lake Peak, and they opted out. You know, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do it. And I had snowshoes, I had determination, and I was like, hey, that looks awesome. It looks sketchy, but it's awesome. The snow was sketchy in certain locations, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it was slushy in some locations, it was hard, it was normal, and it was very questionable in others. But once I made my way to Lake Peak and saw the views, saw just how beautiful it looked, I mean, it was just fantastic. It actually took me about 30 minutes snowshoeing from point to point. Would I recommend it? Use extreme precaution. Use extreme precaution, you know your limits, and take a buddy with you. Not for the inexperienced. But it was fantastic. It was awesome. This was actually a part of a backpacking trip that I took my girlfriend Kristen on, and it was just amazing to be in the Trompas Lakes area. That area alone is just awesome, you know, and if you haven't been out there, definitely check it out sometime. But this was actually the 2nd day, and we got to the base of the beginning of the trail right there to go to Sheepshead, and we looked at it from the bottom, and we're like, you know what, this is not as steep as people were making it out to be on the All Trails website. The reviews, they were saying, you know, well, it's kind of sketchy, it's kind of steep, take your trekking poles, which it proved to be correct. But we ventured up, and yeah, we just went up there, climbed up there, and it was awesome. It was fantastic. The views were just gorgeous, beautiful. Obviously you could see the lakes from above, and just the surrounding mountain range is just a chef's kiss. And you could actually take the mountain ridge and hike it all the way to, I believe it's North Peak as well, and explore the Sanleonardolake Lake mountain range as well. You know, but it's just fantastic. Really amazing to be up there. I had read about this lake for a couple of years on the All Trails website, different reviews, and other websites as well. And I didn't really see a whole lot of information about it, not a whole lot of reviews, not a whole lot of pictures that people had provided. But I was always curious, because whenever I was looking at different trails on the map, I would see it there and I was like, oh wow, I wonder what that's like. I want to go there sometime. So I finally had the chance. Kristen and I, we went backpacking to Stewart Lake, and that was a fantastic trip, really interesting trip. But on the third day that we were there, we chanced it. We went up to Johnson Lake because we had really good weather. And the way from Stewart Lake to Johnson, it's a little unmaintained, and you see the exposed tree roots. And but once you get closer to the lake, probably the last 2 miles to the lake, it opens up in gorgeous, green, vivid, lush beauty. And it's just fantastic. And then once you get to the lake, oh wow, it was amazing. And it's very evident that there's not a whole lot of people that venture out there. It's very clean out there, very quiet actually. And the trees in the surrounding mountain range region are very healthy and very green. That's a stark contrast to how the trees looked like at the Stewart Lake. Nothing against Stewart Lake, love Stewart Lake, it's beautiful, but there was definitely a contrast, you know. And Christian and I were blown away. We're like, wow, this is really gorgeous, and I would definitely go again and check it out. You know, that was just a hike that we did on that day, but I would definitely go back and go backpacking there. Kristen and I were talking about different locations that we could explore for the 4th of July, and I found San Leonardo Lakes on a map that was parallel to the Trampas Lakes Trail. And we're like, yeah, let's go explore that and see how it's like. And first thing, obviously it's going to be an awesome hike because it is in the Carson National Forest. And that whole area is just beautiful, by the way. It's just amazing. You know, one of the most beautiful locations, I think, in the state as far as the outdoors are concerned. But we went on that trail, and we did see some cows along the way. That wasn't a big deal, but it was beautiful, really gorgeous, and very green, very just lush, and very vibrant. You know, just so much awesome green goodness, you know, very reminiscent of the Trampas Lakes Trail, very similar. But once we got to the lake, it was just breathtaking. It really was awesome. It was a pleasant surprise. I mean, not that I doubted that we weren't gonna see some really cool stuff, but it was just beautiful. It was very reminiscent of the San Juan mountain range area in Colorado, is what it reminded me of. But it was just awesome, and we didn't see a whole lot of people out there. I think we saw 2 other people, and they were already getting ready to leave. I think the majority of the traffic is actually in the Trampas Lakes area for obvious reasons. And it's cool too, because you have the main lake right there, and then there's the smaller lake on the left, right before you hit the main lake. And that one's cool too, you know. It was just an awesome adventure. Okay, so that is my list for 2023. And it was an awesome year for hiking, awesome year for backpacking and exploring and adventuring. And it was just fantastic. Had a lot of fun this year. But I would definitely love to hear what you guys have to say about any of these hikes, or about your own adventures. Any hikes that you guys did this year that were fantastic and just breathtaking and memorable. I would love to hear that in the comments section. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this video. I will check you guys later.